everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar, AERA PROSIS Pro, Proficient to Pro, Elevate Your PROSIS Know-How. I am Amanda Goyette. I'm an admin assistant with AERA, and I will be in the background moderating today's event and helping out my colleague, Rob Monroe.
Hey everyone, Rob Monroe here. I look after membership and technical development at AERA, and I want to welcome you to today's PROSIS Pro webinar. We're going to show you some tips and some tricks maybe that you haven't seen with PROSIS before. Amanda mentioned in your materials section that there is more information in there now about our Engine Professional Industry Conference. That is that conference we do one day before the PRI show starts. So this year it's on December 10th. You get breakfast, you get lunch, and it's 4 really high-level technical presentations at this particular one. Make sure to get registered. So there's the link there to get registered so we can get a head count as to who's coming. And I know if you're a member of AERA, the entry fee is $100. And if you're a member and everyone from your shop that's a member, we also give you back $100. So really, it's a win-win. I mean, if you're going to be at PRI, make sure to book a hotel one day early and get in there one day early and check out this particular conference. It's definitely be worth your while for sure. All right, so we're here to talk about PROSIS Pro. Enough sort of chit chat out of me on this one. 15,000 engines are currently in PROSIS Pro, and just before I started to come on, we're actually close to 16,000. So I don't have a logo yet for 16,000, but that's how many engines we have in PROSIS Pro currently. So it makes you, it's a lot of engines, and it kind of maybe poses the question as to why we're not sending out these large manuals anymore. And it's just for the fact that they're getting so big and so thick. You can imagine at 15,000 engines, these manuals, we would almost need 2 manuals for cylinder head. We would need 2 manuals for cylinder block. It's just not feasible. Plus, what we're finding is that this information is changing and being updated all the time. So again, PROSIS Pro is the easiest way for you to get the most up-to-date information right away. On the tech line here, what we're doing is as soon as we get an update for PROSIS Pro or we need to put something in, we do it in live time. So you're getting the most up-to-date information, and it's kind of a nice way to go in there. So what I'll do before I pop over to the live screen, I'm going to go over to Amanda here real quick, and she's going to go into a poll question. I just kind of get an idea of who of you is using PROSIS Pro and how you're using it. So I'll go back to Amanda.
All right, real quick here. We've got a question. We're wondering, how do you access PROSIS Pro? Maybe you use Microsoft Edge, maybe you're got Chrome, maybe you prefer to just access it on your phone or tablet. If you're not using it yet, or if you've got a different way you like to access it, click that other button and then go out and send me a message and let me know how it is, or if you're just here to check it out and see if you're interested. We got some of you answering here, so I'm just going to give it a few more minutes, or not minutes, I apologize. We'll just give it a little bit longer here. I'm not going to waste that much of your time. Let everyone get their answers in. All right. So bear with me a minute. Did that poll pop up, Rob?
It does. Yep.
Okay.
And
we can see the results.
We can.
Looks like we got 75% of those that answered were in Chrome. We got one in Edge and somebody who chose other. So that's kind of where we're at, and I apologize for the kind of stumbling through that. We're learning right along with you guys on this one. So I'll close this out and we'll go back to Rob.
Super, thanks, Amanda. Yeah, with this new software layout, like I say, it's new on our end as well as what you're seeing on your end. So we're good little test drive for us to use it and check it out. I was glad to see 75% of you are using Chrome. What we find on this end, Chrome seems to be the best browser that seems to be glitch-free. So whenever we get calls about little glitches with PROSIS Pro, that's the first question we'll ask is, what browser are you using? And we like to hear it when you're using Chrome because that is the one that gives us the least amount of headache for sure. Um, so recently with PROSIS Pro, and you can see my live screen now, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time today kind of going over some of the basic engine lookup stuff because we're going to assume that you've got PROSIS Pro and you're already looking engines up. Today, my focus is on maybe some of the more advanced features and some of those things that you're not using that maybe are there for you that you weren't aware of. So I would encourage you, if you are maybe just on today for the webinar and you're kind of just brand new to PROSIS Pro and you're wondering, how do I get information on just looking up engines or finding casting numbers, go over here to where it says tutorials. It's right in the top right-hand part of your screen. And when you click that, you'll see that we've produced several YouTube-style videos. They're about 3 to 5 minutes long each. And that's where you're going to get your information that you need to kind of, just like we mentioned here, getting started, engine lookup, technical bullets and diagrams. So again, these are like little YouTube style videos, um, and they'll help you guide you through some of the more basic stuff, as well as the advanced. We did a couple so that we could cover every aspect of PROSIS Pro with these videos, and I'd encourage you to go there and then check that out. So we have done some updates here recently with PROSIS Pro. You probably noticed in the last few months, maybe some of the things on your screen look a little bit different. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you those real quick, just so you're aware of some of those updates. And rather than just do each individual lookup, I kind of saved some of these already, just so it's nice and quick and easy for me. So I'm going into some previous lookups here so we can see that. This particular Ford diesel, for example, I want to draw your attention over here to the notes section. So what we've done is we've changed the colors in both procedures and notes to draw your eyes over there. That was kind of the idea. And the notes section is maybe something where we thought there was something in there that you should know, but maybe wasn't quite technical bulletin related material. So we'd put it there. And here's the example. If I go into this Ford 6-liter diesel, we've made a note there that members have reported that there's a lot, anybody that finds black plastic found in the oil galleries or crankshaft oil feed holes, well, that's actually some of the melted oil filter standpipe. And we've got several calls on that. We thought it would be a good idea for you to know that. And with different engines that you look up, like I say, anything that has a note is now highlighted in red. Another area that I want to draw your attention to is the procedures section. I'm just going to go into an engine that I know I've got a procedure on. And if I go to this particular Chrysler, so in this particular Chrysler 5.7 Hemi, you'll notice now the procedures tab, not only has it got the number 1 there, that means that there's one particular procedure in there. It's also the color blue, again, to draw your eyes over there to let you know that there is a procedure in there. If I click that, it's actually a PDF file that we've got on the Hemi lifter noise. So we threw it in there only because, again, this is probably like one of our number 1 calls for a Dodge Hemi is the fact that they have the ticky sound, especially after you rebuild heads and that kind of stuff. So that's where that highlights is over there. And you will find that in that procedures tab right there. Another really handy feature, if I go back to one of the specs here on this particular Hemi, I love this feature only for the fact is PROSIS Pro is used worldwide. So in North America, most of the stuff that we're measuring is generally all in inches. But if we get outside North America, especially over in Europe and that sort of stuff, they're using the metric system, so they're in metric. This little box here, right over here on the right-hand side of any particular lookup, whether we go block, crankshaft, connecting rod, it's the measurement unit. And it's really easy. If let's say you only want to see metric and you don't want any inches to show up on your screen, just click the metric and you'll see that it uploads only the metric information. If we're in North America and maybe we're not interested in seeing the metric, then we can simply go out here and push inch, and you'll see now all we see is inches. I like to have both highlighted only because for me using PROSIS Pro, we're taking calls from everybody that's both metric and inch. So that's why I like to have mine defaulted to both. Whatever you choose here, even if you go to another engine It'll always stay on metric or stay on inch. It's not like you have to keep clicking it each time. Once you choose that measurement unit, it'll stay where you have it there, and that'll be your default next time you go back in. So that's another great little feature there for you to use. Another one, if we go up to the technical bulletins and we open up the technical bulletins tab, and let's say we open up this MDS one, you're going to notice that we've messed around a little bit with how you view that bulletin on screen in regards to size. And the reason is that everybody's monitors are different sizes. Everybody's screen resolution is set to different. I mean, us folks with a little bit older eyes, I mean, we got it cranked all the way up so that we can see the bulletin. And, you know, for the young folks, I mean, they're way down here because they can see just about anything at 50%. So really, really simple. And you just saw me use it there. You've got your either your minus zoom and your plus zoom for you to click on to bring it up to however you want to view it. Really, really easy. Keep in mind, if you go to the print, it's always going to default to 100%. So it'll default 100% each time when you go to use it there for you. And you can print there and have a look. So that's another little handy feature that's in the bulletins. Another thing that I want to show you that we've done is in regards to diagrams, of course, you can click your diagrams button, and that'll draw you into what diagrams we have for that particular engine lookup. So we have some here for head, block, and torque, and timing. But also, on each specification page for each component, we've also put this little, it's just letting you know that there's a diagram. I realize it's small, but at least it's letting you know there's a diagram. There's very little real estate for us to make it a whole lot bigger here, but all you need to do is hover your mouse over top and click it, and at least you can see the diagram. And what we did is we put, if it's a cylinder head related diagram, it's under cylinder head. Of course, if we go to cylinder block, it's telling you there's a diagram. So you can either go out here, but why not just click right there? You can print from this particular window. You can view from this window. So really, really simple. And it's just a case of letting you know that there's a diagram in there. And so none for crankshaft, none for connecting rod. Torque tune-up, there's 2. So again, you can quickly click on it, open up, and now you can see where you can basically have a look at that diagram or print it. So another little really handy feature there for you to use. Another new one that we did, for those of you that have used specification request before, this is that little tab that you normally saw up here. And when you clicked it, what it did was, it's a direct link to us on the tech line. So let's say, for example, you're in PROSIS Pro and you don't happen to see anything under, let's say, minimum thickness, kind of like what I'm showing here. So you're like, all right, so looks like maybe the OEM didn't publish a minimum thickness for this particular cylinder head, but I wonder if AERA has any notes on how much maybe folks are taking off that head, other members and that kind of stuff. Well, before you would click this specification request, and what it did was it made you fill out all the information there. But now we have this specification request right here on this particular engine lookup. So when you click it, it's going to pre-populate it for you. It kind of makes life a little bit easier. So now it tells us on this end that you're working on the Chrysler 300, 03 to 08 with the 5.7. So it saves you having to fill that information out. All we need is a little bit of your information. It'll pre-populate your company name and email address already if you got it in the system. So you're all set up that way. And then just let us know what it is you're looking for. Type in there, I need minimum head thickness if you have it, or anything like that. And that's a direct link right to us so that you can do that. Another really handy feature that we did through this specification request, and again, we treat these just like we would a tech call. So if you're on PROSIS Pro, that's a 30-minute turnaround typically that we get back to you, or less, and it comes directly to us, and we queue them just like we would a call. So do take advantage of using this particular specification request. You can now upload a file. So for example, maybe you're working on something that has had a failure, and you're wanting to have us have a look at these pictures for you to maybe help you identify what caused that failure. You can do this all as a specification request. So now, it's a 5.7 liter Hemi. Maybe you got the classic ticky ticky sound, and you've actually got some pictures of the camshaft or whatever you may have. You just simply click this upload file, grab them off wherever you got them on your computer, and it basically attaches them to this call, and then hit send. It's a really handy little feature that we're finding that, again, it just allows members to, sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words, so it's easier to send us a picture than trying to explain it. So that's another one that's really, really handy for sure on that one. Let's go back to dashboard here for a second. And let's go back and look up a Chevy that I had opened up. So this Silverado. So this 2010 Silverado 2500, it's got the 6-liter engine. Keep in mind that we've got technical bulletins, we've got notes, but sometimes it's nice to have an article. And if we've done an article that's in Engine Professional magazine before that relates to the engine that you're looking up, you're going to see here this little tab that's going to say one related engine article. So it's just as simple as opening it up. You want to click here on view. Now it's taking you out to an article that we did on GMLS blocks. And actually this one's really handy because it lets you know all kinds of information about the LS. So it's kind of a quick reference sheet, how much you can bore them over, that kind of stuff. So if I close this screen and we go back, that's right there, one related article. So again, look for that particular one. That means we've done an article on it and there's more information than we could possibly squeeze into PROSIS Pro for you to look at and do. So do check that out and look at that. If I go back to dashboard, we still get this call, and I know every webinar I do on PROSIS, we talk about this, and I just want to emphasize it again. Your best results with PROSIS Pro is entering the least amount of information. And I know that sounds really, really weird. It's like, well, why have all these boxes? Why don't I just fill them all out? And that way PROSIS Pro is going to take us to exactly what I want. Well, keep in mind, PROSIS Pro is a program that's used all over the world. So the engines are all the same. So if we're talking about, let's say, a 2008 Ford Ranger, for example, with a 2.3 liter, I want you to get in the habit. If it's a vehicle, I'll show you how to do an industrial engine in a second. But if it's a car, we just want you to go forward. We want you to go the year, which is 2008, and the engine size. So make, year, and engine size. So let's go 2.3 and search that. The reason why I don't put model and all that kind of stuff in there is because a Ford Ranger in South Africa with a 2.3 liter is not called a Ford Ranger necessarily. It could be called something totally different. And we really see that in Latin America, with the Spanish-speaking countries. For sure, it'll have the same engine, but the model is totally different. So you'll be sitting there trying to input as much as you can, and PROSIS Pro is going to say to you, no results. I'd much rather put in the minimum criteria and see all the results in front of me than none. This way I can go ahead and pick which particular engine I want to view. So keep that in mind. Minimum criteria. That's for I'll call it the rule of 3 for a vehicle or on the road type stuff. Industrial, super simple. It's usually the rule of 2. Only because industrial engines have an engine code and they're very good about doing engine codes. So if we're talking Caterpillar, for example, most industrial engines, year's not applicable. That engine can be in a generator, it could be in a tractor, it could be in a highway truck. So model's not usually applicable. A lot of times we don't know the engine size, but we certainly can reference the engine code, So with Caterpillar, it's great. I mean, we all, for example, if you've worked on industrial engines before, I mean, you've definitely heard of a C15. You find your C15, and it's the rule of 2. So super easy to find. So do keep that in mind. Industrial engines, just do make an engine code, and vehicles or gas engines, for example, just do the rule of three: make, engine size, and year. All right, let's go back to a lookup here real quick, and maybe we'll go back to my Chevy Silverado that I had open. All right, so sometimes in the shop, we see the same engine over and over and over again. And we can actually make PROSIS, this particular engine or whichever one you're looking up, a favorite. And that's that little star right there. And I'm going to show you where else to find it. It's as simple to create a favorite engine as clicking that star. Now you can see that it's highlighted in yellow. That means that's a favorite engine. So like I say, maybe you're going into this particular lookup 3 or 4 times a week because it's one engine that you use all the time. Once you created it as a favorite, here's where to find it. So if you go to the engine spec, and of course, this is where we look up the previous lookup. So you can see here, these are the engines that I've just looked up recently or this morning. And if you want to find your favorite engine, it's right in this area right here. And it's this blue box that says My Favorite Engines. So again, that's click the engine spec tab and then down to My Favorite Engines and click that. You can see I have a few. So, okay, I don't see that Silverado, but probably on page 2, yeah, right there. So there's that one that I just created that was a favorite. If I don't want that as a favorite anymore, it's as simple as going over to the star and just clicking it, and it will take it away from my favorite engines. There's the other way to create a favorite engine. Like I say, if you're in your lookup stage and you can see here on the Silverado, so these are the previous lookups that I had, or if I had typed this in for the first time, of course, it would give me all the different models sitting here. Over in this area, there's that star. So you could click it. So it either, if you're in the engine, it was over there on the right side that I first did, or if you're just looking the engine up, it's right here over on the right side as well. If you're wondering, I know we're kind of more into the basic stuff, but if you're wondering what all this is over here, just as a refresher, this is that area where we can see if this engine is an interference engine or not. So that's why it stands, INTFR is short for interference. That red dot means yes, valves are going to hit pistons, so this one's going to be a problem. If you see yellow, that means we're not sure. We have no information yet that tells us whether it will or it won't. And then with green, green is good. Green means it's a freewheeling engine and there's no interference issues. This is also the area that you can look and see, okay, this little thumbtack means bulletins. The little wrench means procedures. The camera is diagrams, and of course, this is whether it's a favorite or not. You can literally go and basically quick link right to the bulletins, the diagrams from here, because it's highlighted in blue, rather than opening up the engine and doing it this way. I mean, you could go to the bulletins now here or diagrams here, but when we're on the engine lookup stage, rather than opening up the engine, you're like, I just want to see the diagrams real quick. I don't want to open up. You could click it, and it's going to take you right to the diagrams page. So, little handy feature there to help save you some time for sure. Okay, couple things I want to show you that you might have seen that you're not really sure that whether to use them or not. I'll show you how to use them. I call them, I don't know what the fancy term is. I'm going to call them speed boxes. So let's say you're on the cylinder head section here. And of course, most of you that work a mouse, there's usually a scroll button on top of the mouse. And you can sit there and scroll all the way down to the bottom because maybe you're looking for rocker shaft information. And then you can scroll all the way back up manually with your mouse. But you see here, again, I call these sort of like quick find boxes or quick search boxes. Click rocker shaft, and it's going to take you down real quick to the rocker shaft information. This little red arrow is going to quickly take you up. So again, valve spring, boom, down it goes, and back up to the top. So just a speed feature, again, uh, anyways that are on a computer all day, we appreciate these types of little speed features because, just little ways to, once your computer is slow or once you figure out ways to make it faster, if you're on the computer lots, these are definitely handy to have. So that's another little one to take advantage of that's there for you. I'm going to go into a feature that I absolutely love. And again, it's probably more because when we get calls on the tech line, members are trying to identify a particular engine and they have no idea what it is. But I remember too when I had the shop, for example, a parts driver would unload a bunch of components, throw it on the shipping bench, and they would say, "Yep, Bob's going to give you a call later when he gets time." But you have no idea what this stuff is, and you wouldn't mind tagging it or at least creating a work order on it so that doesn't get lost in the system once the shipping bench gets full of stuff that with parts drivers bringing it all in all day long. So it's nice to be able to identify it, even if you don't know what it fits. If you've been doing this long enough, you can look at and go, yep, that's 350 Chevy, or oh no, that's definitely 351 Windsor. But if you have no idea, there's these advanced searches right here. And the search by component and size is the one that in this particular case that I find very, very handy. So let's say you got a cylinder head sitting on the bench and maybe a set of rods and pistons that they want you to swap over. And your shipping bench, of course, you got a caliper sitting right there as you always do. And you're trying to identify this particular engine. Well, you've kind of looked it all over. It's all greasy, it's all grimy. But you do recognize there's a bow tie emblem on it. So you're like, yep, that's Chevy. So it's as simple as, okay, we know that the make is Chevrolet. We got that part. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your caliper. Before even taking the head apart, you could throw the caliper on those valves for the head diameter and go, yep, I can get a pretty good reading from there. So, we're going to measure the cylinder head and we're going to measure a valve head diameter. And our caliper is telling us that, and again, this, we're not machining at this point. So it's not like we're not trying to get to the 10th. We're just trying to get an idea of what this component is. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to tell you the caliper is my tool of choice, but this at least gets you going when it comes to trying to identify. So we've identified that the intake valve is 1.940 in diameter. Okay, well, let's search that and see what PROSIS Pro comes up with. Okay, wow, we got 60 results with what I've just put in there and 6 pages worth. I'd like to narrow that down a little more. Let's see if I can do that. So again, I'm going to grab my caliper, go over to the cylinder head. I'm going to measure a valve head diameter, and this time I'm going to do the exhaust. And it's measuring 1.500, and we search that. Okay, we're getting a bit closer. We're down to 45 results. Still a little bit bigger than I maybe want to try and narrow this down again if I can. So like I mentioned, there's also a set of rods sitting there, for example. Okay, so I quickly just grab my caliper. I'm going to throw it in the big end of the rod. So I'm going to choose connecting rod. And I'm going to choose to measure the big end bore. And again, we're not resizing these rods, so I'm not trying to get to the 10th. I'm just trying to get an idea of a rough size so that I can identify it. And let's say I'm getting it's measuring up about 225 is what I'm getting. And I search that. Okay, that's better. So now we're down to 17 results. I can deal with that. I've only got 2 pages here. So I can see that PROSIS Pro has identified with that valve head diameter and that big end bore size on the connecting rod, we're pretty much talking a 350. If I go over to page 2, again, we're talking 350. So that's pretty good. That's kind of what we're looking for. And at least now I can identify it at some point that we've got a Chevrolet, we've got a 350, and we're kind of getting somewhere. On engines, I picked a super popular one. What's really handy is you can actually narrow this down to 1 or 2 lookups depending on how many components you have sitting there. So take advantage of that. That is a great little one to have a look at. Another little advanced feature PROSIS that you might not be aware that it's here, only because it's buried a little bit, is we've got pre-printed worksheets available for you. If you go over here to Shop Tools, and you can see here at the top, there's worksheets and there's what we call download worksheets. This particular one, if you click it, is going to allow you to open up sort of an on-screen version. So for those of you that really like to work with the iPad in the shop, or you're working a computer and you want to fill out this particular worksheet all on screen and then print it, this will allow you to do that. If you're looking to maybe download one that's already pre-printed and it's on like a paper form, you'll see here I went over to download worksheets. So if we click this PDF and open it, here's one. Again, just maybe if you're doing a disassembly, these are handy to have so that your tear down department, can quickly put the customer's name on there, quickly do a sheet here that shows what the main oil clearances were, like kind of just a little checklist. Well, those sheets are there for you, and they're in the Shop Tools section. So take advantage of that. Those are there for you. Again, maybe something you didn't realize was there to be able to use. All right. This feature's been up for a while, but I'm going to just emphasize it again just to kind of show you how to use it. And that's this fuel feature. And I'm going to show you why it comes in handy. Let's do a lookup of a Volkswagen. Let's go a 2-liter. Let's do 2015 and search that. Volkswagen's brutal as far as how many engine codes they have. So here's the example. There's 68 engines that we only have, like just us and PROSIS has for you to look up. I mean, there's way more than that depending on where you're located in the world, but we have 68 2-liter engines for the Volkswagen 2015 2-liter. So you're like, well, how can I narrow that down? I basically got 7 pages to go through to figure out which one I've got. You could simply go, you know what? I can see with this cylinder head, this thing is definitely diesel. So you go to the drop down arrow, you click the diesel, and you search it. Okay, that's livable. Okay, now I've got 27 results because it's showing me only the diesels. So now I can go through the different pages and I can see which one I'm working on. This feature is really handy for shops that either work on only gas or only diesel. So a lot of our larger industrial shops, they'll never see a Volkswagen cylinder head, probably in the shop. They may only see the large, 10-liter and over stuff. They're going to simply drop to diesel and they'll leave it defaulted to diesel, kind of like what I've done here, because they really don't care if they see a gas engine pop up on PROSIS Pro. So just a little tip there for you. You can choose which fuel, gas or diesel, or if you just click the fuel, it'll give you both. And then you'll see everything that we got to offer for both fuels in there. All right, let's go to a 5-liter Ford. I wanted to show you this. Some of these newer engines that we're seeing, like new, we're starting to see different bore materials. So BMW, for example, Alusil, Nikasil. With this Ford, we're starting to see PTWA, so plasma transfer wire arc. We're wanting to let you know in the cylinder block section of some of this newer stuff what material you have. And the reason is this is a great idea to kind of come here first. If you're getting a phone call and an inquiry about building this engine, maybe you got to do a quote on it. It's a good idea to kind of poke around and have a look to see what material you're dealing with, because in this particular case, you can't bore this particular one. This is going to be sleeves. So you need to know that before if you're even going to bother taking it in so you can quote it properly. So again, have a look out here at the cylinder block section. As we get more information from these newer engines, we'll start filling out the cylinder bore material. So take a look out there. That's really, really good to know. All right, I want to show you piston to rod orientation and where to find it, because sometimes we get this call and I just want you to be sure that you can find it here. So I'm going to go to this 6-liter diesel again and show you why. Typically, you would look under diagrams. I mean, that's kind of what the normal go-to would be if you're looking to figure out how pistons go on rods. The problem for us is service manuals don't always give us a diagram. Sometimes it's verbiage only. So sometimes it'll just give a direction, but it actually won't produce an image. So I want you to feast your eyes and get used to either going to cylinder block or connecting rod. If you go to cylinder block and come down to piston, you'll see here piston to rod assembly. And of course, it's telling you that the bearing tang side on the rod goes to bottom piston relief for oil squirter. That's the one place we put it. And of course, we put it in connecting rod as well. So they're both there for you. If you don't see it in diagrams, it generally you will see it because it was only wording in the service manual, and we've put that wording back over to PROSIS PRO and put it in either cylinder block or connecting rod. So I just wanted to feast your eyes there so that you could see that. Another thing I want to show you with PROSIS PRO, you probably are well aware that timing procedures and timing diagrams are getting very, very complicated. It's not like the day of where it's just a dot to dot, one diagram timing procedure. Those days are kind of gone. So I'm going to give you an example. So we are taking calls now where, like I say, people are wanting an actual timing procedure. Some of these don't even use dots. I mean, it's things like you're putting a special tool in that stops the crankshaft in a particular spot, and a locking tool that goes on the camshafts to put it in a special spot. So what's happening is we just don't have room typically for all these 8 and 9 page areas for anywhere typically in PROSIS PRO, but we do in procedures. So again, if you're looking for a timing procedure, go to procedures on the particular engine that you're looking up and see if we've actually got it there. This particular Chevy Cruze, we do. You'll open it and see, there you go. Like I mentioned, it's 9 pages long, and this is what we're finding with engine lookups now for timing. It's just a super long procedure. If you don't see it in procedures, it doesn't mean it's that we don't have it. It just means we haven't had time to get it in there yet. So by all means, use your specifications request tab here and let us know you're looking for a timing procedure. We're a 30-minute turnaround, so we'll get that to you right away. Or call us. I mean, we're always here. There's 5 of us on the phone at most of the time. So again, we'll get back to you within 30 minutes. You can call us, you can email us, you can fax us if you're still using fax. I would assume because you're on PROSIS PRO, you're probably not using fax. You're probably sort of reached out, you got an email, obviously, and of course, and do it that way. So use that, and we'll get those procedures out to you. All right, I'm going to do one last little look up here for you, and then we're going to bring Amanda back on just for a couple things. So I want to show you PROSIS PRO is completely customizable. And right after Amanda's done with her slides, I'm going to show you how to do custom data. But I also want to show you that you can actually create an engine in PROSIS PRO. Like maybe you're working on some weird hydrogen project, and we haven't got it in there yet, but you're developing this thing, and this thing is like your own deal. Well, PROSIS PRO is completely customizable to what you're doing. So if you just click the engine spec tab right there, you're going to see this particular little tab right here called Create New Engine. So this is very similar to what ours looks like on the admin end for when we create an engine that we put into PROSIS PRO. We're allowing you to do the same thing. It's not going to go onto anybody else's computer but yours. It's only tagged to your login. So it's not like you're creating an engine that we're going to see on the tech line. It's not like anybody or any of our members are going to see it. Only you will see it. So again, you can go ahead and create your own engine. So in this case, let's say it's a motorcycle, and you'll fill out all these fields. The more you know, the better. The more information you have and that kind of stuff. And let's say it's a KTM, which we should have in the system already, which we do. Okay. If it wasn't one that we had in the system, that's where this box would be. You'd actually put whatever it is you're working on. So gas, or let's say we didn't have it, something would be in there. Let's see if we've got the model you're working on. Well, this particular model that we're using as this example is going to be like a ZZZ 350. So no, I don't see the model there. So we're going to go ZZZ 350. We're going to save that. Now at PROSIS Pro, you save the engine lookup information. Now you're going to enter all of your specs. So you can see this looks very much like our spec pages that you would look up, only you're physically filling these out yourself with your own custom information. You can do it with cylinder block, crankshaft, and you would go to edit, and then again, you would fill all these out. Now, we can check to see whether this engine actually saved. So we're going to do a lookup. We're going to call it a KTM. And there's our ZZZ 350. So it would actually look up the engine that you put in there. Only you'll see that. We won't. Nobody else will but you. If you're wondering how you delete engines that you've done, because we do get that call as well, you're going to go to engine spec. And right here at the bottom, you're going to see a box called custom engine spec. You'll click that. And there we go. There's our ZZZ 350. You'll go over here to the trash can. You'll click it, and it's gone. So that's how you create a new engine if you have an engine that you're working on. All right, well, I'm going to go back to Amanda here for a second, and she's got, we're going to go to a couple slides here. We take calls on some computer-related issues sometimes, and sometimes we can walk you through on how to fix that, and sometimes it's just a case of where you can actually go in and fix it yourself. So what I'll do is I'm going to change back to a slide here, show real quick. I'm going to go back to Amanda, and she's going to talk to you about how to do some updating with PROSIS Pro.
All right, we'll keep this really quick because I see we're running short on time. So one thing we run into is when you go to update your password and you have to choose a new password, a lot of you have your passwords saved. So when you go to log in afterwards, it pops up and says your username or password is wrong. Up in the upper right-hand corner of your browser, there should be like 3 dots. And within there, you can choose your password manager. Go out there, delete the old one, and reset it, and you'll be good to go. And if you have problems with this or anything else I talk about, just give me a call or shoot me an email. I'm happy to walk you through it. I've got an email with spelled out instructions on a lot of this too. So another thing we run into is replacing the bookmark shortcut. So if we do updates to our security settings, especially, sometimes you'll get something that pops up and says that our site is insecure. While it is a secure site, you need to take a moment and navigate out to your bookmark manager. As you can see up there on the screen, go out, hit those 3 dots, go to bookmarks and lists, bookmark manager. And then if you search PROSIS, you can find that bookmark and just delete it. And then go out to your web browser and just type in prosispro.com. Don't click on anything it wants to do, just type it in and go straight to that website and then bookmark that. And that'll get you a new clean bookmark that typically will get rid of that error. And if that don't work, one other thing to try to fix any issues you are having, other than obviously restarting your computer and that kind of stuff, is to clear your cache and cookies. I think there's one more slide there, Rob, that kind of shows some of that. So for that, you want to go out to clear your browsing history and clearing your data, and that's under history. You'll do your, or under privacy and security, excuse me, do clear your browsing data and make sure you do all time for your time range. This just makes sure that there's no old information in there. You hit clear data, and then you're going to be good to go. So if those don't work or you need more information, just please take a moment and reach out to me and I will happily help you. And then really quick before I go back to Rob, I'm just going to pop up one quick poll question for you. And we're just wondering if any of you are using the custom data in PROSIS Pro currently. So we'll just give you a moment to check out those results and see what everyone has to say. All right. And it looks like uh, most of you are not, so this will be good for Rob to go over. And I'm going to close this out and we'll go back to Rob.
Thanks, Amanda. Super. All right, so that's kind of why we put the poll question there, just to kind of get an idea of how many of you are actually adding custom data. So PROSIS Pro, similar to like I showed you with adding a new engine or a custom engine, you can do the same with custom data. So let's choose an engine that I had open already. And let's say it's this Chevy Cruze, so let's open it back up. You'll see here this little box over on the right side, add custom info. That's for the cylinder head, and it'll be there. If I happen to have the block page open, it'll be there, crankshaft, all that kind of stuff. It's really, really simple. All you're going to do is you're going to add the custom info. It's going to open up another particular screen here. So I'm on crankshaft. And the reason why I say add custom info, for example, we get a lot of race shops maybe that aren't using typical OEM specs. Maybe they're like on their oil clearances and stuff, they've actually opened things up. So maybe they're running a turbocharger in this particular case, and they're going to 3 to 4 thou oil clearances. So you can see as I typed it in, it was going blue in color. That means that the custom data that you have in there, you can see the difference. Our information will be black. The information you put in is going to be blue. Now we're going to save it. Go OK. And you can see there's your custom info. This is only, again, to your login. Nobody else sees the custom info. It's only to your particular computer. So you're the only one that sees it. So you can do that with custom info. You can do this with adding parts. This is really, really handy for a lot of shops actually like to create their own engine kits. So maybe your parts people have a bunch of spare time, and rather than looking up every single time you're working on a Chevy Cruze, you're trying to figure out what part number for gaskets, what part number for pistons. You can do all that right here under adding new part. So you simply, let's say the part number is 1, 2, 3, 4. The vendor is Felpro. These are the gaskets. It's a 1.8 liter, and it makes you put in the quantity so that you can save it and go save. You can create your own parts list now. So again, you could put a whole engine kit here, put the pistons, the bearings. That way, maybe if the parts people are away that day and your machinist is needing to order parts, they can see all of the parts they need without even going to the opening up a catalog. So that's a really, really handy feature. We can all do the same thing with casting numbers. A lot of times we don't have maybe the casting number that you have, and you simply want to enter the casting number. So again, it's just really, really simple. Just basically, let's go like 8675309 as a casting number. And I'm dating myself with that one a little bit. If anybody can actually think about where I'm pulling that from, put it in the questions box. We'll give you a t-shirt. We'll see if anybody gets that particular reference. Let's say it's a block, and we're going to save that and go OK. So there you go. It saved that particular cast number, the 8675309, and it's right in there in the block. So that's how you save that one. All right. I've kind of covered just about everything. The one last thing I want to cover that we just added to real quick is adding images. So if I go to engine spec, we go to diagrams, you have the ability now to also add images as part of your custom data. So maybe where this is handy is your cylinder head department. Maybe you've taken like 4 or 5 different angles of a cylinder head assembly, and you want to save that in here for the next time another head comes back in. It's as simple as going to, again, to diagrams. You'll choose cylinder head. You're going to upload it. So you're going to have these pictures somewhere in your computer. So I'll just do it here real quick. I've got mine saved on the desktop, and maybe it's like a forward head surface picture. And we're just going to go head surface and upload and OK. now you can see that I saved, an image. And again, this is a really handy feature. If you got a smartphone, you can just take a whole bunch of pictures, upload it, save it for the next time, and it's in there and you've got it. So really, really handy. So Amanda, that's pretty much all I've got for today for PROSIS Pro. And like I say, I've covered more of some of the newer features. I've covered some of the advanced features, and there's still a lot of the basic features which I didn't cover, which are all going to be in those tutorials. We also have a sort of entry to PROSIS Pro YouTube video that's on our YouTube channel, and Amanda's going to show you how to get out to that YouTube channel here in a minute. But Amanda, do we have any questions for anybody for PROSIS Pro?
I think because of time, we'll just, if anyone's got any questions, we'll get back to them. Maybe be a good opportunity for some one-on-one,
Sure.
um, and go that route. And I see there were a number of comments referring to your little phone number there. So more than one person, more than one person recognized in some way, shape, or form what you were referring to for your casting number.
There we go. So yeah, we'll pick one and we'll send them a prize and see what we can make of it there for sure.
There we
Um,
go.
all right. So if we don't have any questions on the PROSIS Pro, and again, all of us on the tech line are very versed with PROSIS, and we don't mind doing a little one-on-one. Take 10, 15 minutes if you want, and kind of spend one-on-one with everybody. So we can do that. All right. So what I'll do now, if we've got no questions, I'm going to let you go back and kind of tell everybody about the YouTube channel, and I appreciate everybody's time.
All right. As Rob mentioned, we do have a YouTube channel. So go out to YouTube and search AERA Engine Builders Association and make sure to subscribe. Usually about the week after our webinar is live like this, I get it posted up on YouTube. This one will fall under PROSIS tutorials. There's a bunch of great content out there, especially our technical content. If you haven't already, go out and check it all out. Just a great place to find a bunch of information. And we just made a new little snippet live under the Viewpoint with Dennis Quaid. So there's something for you to check out as well. And with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone for attending. We appreciate you taking time out of your day. We know how busy you guys are. When you leave, take a moment and fill out the survey for us. Let us know how we're doing. If there's more process questions you have, something specific you'd like to see us do a webinar on, anything like that, go ahead and put it in there and we'll make sure and review that and answer any questions that do come in. And if you need to reach anyone on the AERA team, you can reach us at 815-526-7600. And you can also see Rob and my emails are there as well. And as I mentioned, if you run into some of those computer issues when it comes to PROSIS, feel free to reach out to me and I'm more than happy to help you. So with that, I just want to say thank you everybody for taking the time and we appreciate it and we hope you have a great rest of your day.